Tell the people that phony water is back. Like that. Tell the people that phony water is back. Like that.
You are tuned into the W Show on Sideline Sports Talk Network and 100.1 FM Kansas City. Live from Radio Row in San Francisco, California. Brought to you by Gates Barbecue, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Dillard Zona Rosa, the Soul of Santa, Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services, and Wood Nissan.
All right, we're back here live from Radio Row. Another great guest with us. A lot of folks know this guy, and I'm really excited that we have him on, especially since the World Cup is coming to the U.S., and we'll have some World Cup games in Kansas City, where we're from. Mr. Kasey Keller, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah, you're doing some sports casting. People know you. You're also played in the World Cup.
I had a few World Cups, had four.
Yep.
So it was. It's cool to see the World Cup back in America and kind of that continued growth. And sitting here with the Kansas City guys, just saying, it's been a good run for you guys. You got to be a little weird, probably over the last few years. The little different vibe, but as a Seahawks fan,
you're a Seahawks fan?
I grew up in Seattle, grew up in the Pacific Northwest. So excited to see the Hawks back in the Super Bowl.
And what do you think about the World Cup coming to the U.S.?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when it came in '94, it was kind of one of those big question marks.
Okay.
I mean, the game is grown so much in America that it's no longer that.
Mm-hmm.
But this idea that soccer's going to become the biggest sport in America, I think it isn't going to happen in our lifetime. But but I think it's just there's a place for it, and it's growing, and I think it's now becoming part of the sports scene. It's not as niche as it once was when we qualified for the World Cup in 1990.
Yeah.
So it's just that I think it's just that continual growth. I mean, for someone like myself who played 17 years in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest way for me to explain to American sports fans what it was like playing in the Premier League or in La Liga in Spain is if you combined baseball, basketball, and football into one sport.
Yeah.
Because it's that singular focus.
Yeah.
And so, I played for teams that were founded in the 1880s.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about, the World Cup in 94.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about then MLS starting in 96.
Yeah.
The rest of the world has had 100 years head start on you.
Yeah.
And you're not going to just flip a switch and be like, okay, now.
Of course.
And you wouldn't want that to happen because then it would just be a fad.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's kind
true.
of what the NASL was a little bit.
Yeah.
In the 70s, it was this little bit of a fad. Oh, look, there's this Pele guy. There's, and then it was like, okay, now what? Well, now it's just had that slow, continual growth, and we'll see where it is in 50 years. But it's been a good run.
Yeah. Do you think women's soccer will progress faster than men's soccer in the United States?
I think women's soccer has, and the best way for me to explain it is my daughter's 28.
Okay.
She was born in England. We lived in England, Spain, and Germany, and we moved home when she was 12. Started, 6th grade. In those 3 countries, a team did not exist for her to play on as a little girl.
Oh, wow.
Her mom had, in the 70s, had teams in America for her to play on.
Right.
So what's really kind of happened in those early years is the U.S. women were so far ahead of opportunity.
True.
And now what you're starting to see is the women in the other countries having those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the women know, and they recognize this, that they have a new level of competition that they never had before, which is, we're 120 years as a men's team behind the rest of the world.
Right.
And the women were 30 to 40 years ahead of the rest of the world.
Correct.
Yeah. And in the end, it's best for the women's sports. Just more women around the world playing, more women wanting to watch, more men wanting to watch the women's game, just like in the rest of the world, women didn't go to matches. They didn't watch matches. And over the last 30, 40 years, they've become huge fans of the game as well.
Of course. And it was very amazing to me. I guess it would be about a month now that Trinity Rodman signed the largest contract. American signed the largest
and that makes
contract
sense.
in the world.
And that truly makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the women were, like I said, they were playing when nobody else was. So it makes sense. Now it's going to be fun to see how the rest of the countries really start to catch up.
How many people, because I know a lot of times, or here recently, folks in Kansas City and surrounding areas are like, oh, well, we're expecting 500,000 people. We're expecting almost 1 million people.
Yeah.
How many people do you estimate would be coming to a state like, Missouri? Or Kansas City?
It will be, the countries that are playing in Kansas City, the representation will be impressive.
Okay.
And it'll be twofold too. It'll be those that have tickets and those that just come because their team's there.
Yeah.
And so it kind of then the bars and everything else will have a pretty cool vibe.
Yeah,
traffic
really
will be heavy.
Yes. Traffic will be heavy, and find the team that that you're going to have some fun with.
Because Kansas City is unique because there's a Kansas City, Missouri, and a Kansas City, Kansas. So you have a lot of stuff.
You'll have some people. You'll have some tourists going to the wrong place for sure.
Definitely. And as far as the game of soccer, is the gameplay different now versus when you played? Because you look at the NFL as more of a passing league now.
Yeah, there's little, I think nuances. Little more, I think right now, one of the things that happened over the last couple of years is there's a little more focus on kind of playing out of the back as opposed to just like, too much risk.
Right.
I think that'll swing back as there's so many mistakes that happen, but it's the same game. I talked to some of my friends, from the Seahawks in the days old, and it just what it was in the 80s to what it is now, but it's always moving. It's always, kind of just having those little changes.
Yeah, because soccer is not one of those sports and I was using the reference as far as the NFL and the NBA because they want to score more.
Yes. There's been a few rule changes that, when I started playing, you used to be able to pass the ball back to the goalkeeper and he could pick it up and throw it back and pass it back. I think that was the best change that FIFA made to keep the game moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reset.
And I think and a couple of the changes that they tried to make to help score actually did the opposite.
Really?
Because it was like, oh no, now it's too easy. We got to commit more players to the defense. So it's a reason why it's the world's most popular sport. You don't need to mess it up.
And can you talk about your partnership with Bristol Myers?
Yeah. So this is kind of a wild story. So I played 17 years in Europe. I moved home in 2009 to play for the Seattle Sounders in their inaugural season. I signed a 2-year contract. I was maybe a month at the end of that 2-year contract. I was a month from my 41st birthday. So we kind of just had always said, let's see how these 2 years go, see where I am physically, see how I'm playing, and then we'll look to extend based off of that. But at the end of that second season, I had a little issue with my hip, and I didn't want to play my 20th season as a pro and spend all that time on the treatment table.
Yeah.
So I said to the doc, I said, look, before I sign the new contract, I just want to have an MRI to make sure there's no drama going on here. So I go have the MRI. Doc calls me back a couple hours later. He's like, look, your hip's okay. It just looks like a 41-year-old who's had 19 years as a pro and 700 matches and whatever else. But he says something that is burned into my head. He goes, have you had lunch yet? I said, Doc, I've had a lot of MRIs. Nobody's ever asked me if I've had lunch yet. He goes, well, we saw something on the MRI. And if you hadn't had lunch, we want you to go back to the hospital for a biopsy. And since you've had lunch, you're scheduled for 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. You're like, oh, that's not good. So I go get the biopsy, wait that 3-4 days for pathology, and confirms that I have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
So I meet with the oncologist. He says, look, we found this you're asymptomatic. We found it from something else. Suggestion is we do nothing. We monitor it. We see where it goes. And, because of HIPAA laws and stuff like that, I don't have to tell anybody.
Right.
But I said, I can't sign a new contract and not tell the club that I was just diagnosed with cancer, right?
Right.
So I tell like two people, the owner and the guy that ran the club. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my kids.
Wow.
We just kept it totally quiet. So I finished preseason. I have to get a test to see if I can start the season. Halfway through the season, I have another test to see if I can finish the season.
Okay.
So I finished the season and then move into my broadcast career. And the doctor said, look, you're going to know. So it was 2018 in around February when I really realized that, I think it's time to go see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So they confirmed that I needed to start treatment. And it was one of those things where having the success that I had as an athlete, I fully expected the doc to tell me at the end of that treatment, these are the best results we've ever seen from any patient ever. And it was exactly the opposite.
Wow.
It was the start of this disappointing process. In the end, I went 13 different treatments with some success to no success to really good success halfway through the treatment to then a reversal by the end of the treatment. And then I'd finished right as COVID kicked off. I had started a really horrible treatment, which was a 96-hour continual chemo trip.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, the old saying about Mike Tyson. You have a game plan until you get. That was the one that one officially punches you in the face.
Yeah.
But you try to keep life as normal as possible. And so because they kind of kicked us all out of the hospital, this was supposed to be inpatient, but because of COVID, I was bringing back the fanny pack, but I had a 24-hour chemo bag with a pump in it.
Yeah.
And when MLS's back tournament started in Orlando, I actually called a match for the Sounders while connected to chemo.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty trippy.
Really?
And
Okay.
so that treatment it had a lot of success early. And then again, as I had so many different disappointments throughout this journey, then a drug that I just missed the clinical trial was this CAR T cell therapy called Breyanzi.
Okay.
I was one of the first people that got this drug after FDA approval. And after setback after setback, a month after the treatment, I was in remission. And 3 months afterwards, I was declared what was called NED, which is no evidence of disease.
Yeah.
And I've had that since 2021.
That's amazing. Now, I know we got to get you out of here. Last question for you. What would you tell those folks that, because us guys don't want to go get checked? We can have a pain and we're like, nah, we'll wait.
So get that relationship with your doctor.
Okay.
Be an advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to get second, third, fourth opinions or whatever. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right.
Go find what's out. And for me, in the end, have that support group that looks at everything. So if you're going through this and you're doing different things, look for BreyanziWithin.com. Talk to your doctor, talk to your is CAR T cell therapy something for you? And is it something else? Is it this? Just exhaust it. And also understand that technology and medicine continues to improve.
Right.
Breyanzi wasn't even in existence when I was diagnosed. I had enough success to that it gave me time for this to be FDA approved.
Yeah.
And this was the one after 13 different failures that got me out the other side.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Casey, we appreciate you giving us some time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
That's Casey Keller. We'll be back here with more guests live from Radio Row.
The views and opinions expressed of the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundation, or affiliates.